Good morning, and today's thought for the day comes from Mark chapter 3 verses 1 to 6, which I'm going to read for you now. Another time he went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Stand up in front of everyone." Then Jesus asked them, "Which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?" But they remained silent. He looked round at them in anger and, deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Then the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. Last week, Rosie spoke about Jesus healing the man with leprosy, reminding us that we need to be confident in asking Jesus for healing, even when we don't always see answers to our prayers. We can still be confident that he is the Lamb who overcomes. Today's reading's a bit different. It's not the ill man's faith that is in question, but Jesus' whole ministry. Who is this man who has the power not only to heal, but to ignore the rules? Just before this chapter starts, Jesus has been teaching the disciples about the Sabbath, saying that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. So what was the Sabbath in the Jewish law, and why was it so important? Obviously, it's about taking a day of rest. However, the laws for Shabbat were, and still are, incredibly complex. And here are just some of the things that an observant Jew is forbidden from doing on the Sabbath. I'm going to read you a little list. Writing, erasing and tearing, business transactions, driving or riding in cars or other vehicles, shopping, using the telephone, turning on or off anything which uses electricity, including lights, radios, television, computer, air conditioners and alarm clocks, cooking, baking or kindling a fire, gardening and grass mowing, and doing the laundry. Now, I had a little taste of this on a trip to Israel a few years ago. I went with my mother and we had an absolutely wonderful time seeing many of the sites that we read about in the Bible, and just being able to picture them and being in the location was really fabulous. I definitely recommend it if you have the chance. And at the end of our stay, we were in a hotel in Tel Aviv, just enjoying the food and enjoying being by the beach and just chilling really before we came home. And we were due to fly back on a Saturday. And of course, we hadn't realised that that was going to be Shabbat. So we were looking forward to our last tasty breakfast and went down to breakfast and found that it was very simple fare that had been prepared the night before, all cold, just left out. And there on the trolley were copies of the Torah, the Jewish book, and some special Shabbat wine. So we entered into the spirit of it and sat there and looked through the Torah, though obviously we couldn't read it, being in the script. And we tasted some of the Shabbat wine, and we took the Shabbat lift back up to our room. And again, we didn't know what a Shabbat lift was, but we soon found out that it stops on every floor so that you don't have to press the button to get out at your floor. But then I'm afraid we had to take a taxi back to the airport, so that's where our Shabbat experience ended. And it was just a brief insight for both of us into the good and the difficult aspects of having such strict laws. It is, of course, really good to take a day of rest, but we need to be careful not to be legalistic about it. And here in today's passage, the Pharisees are using their Sabbath laws as a way to trap Jesus. Now, he's fully aware of this, but he gets straight on in and heals the man anyway. So let's put ourselves in the position of some of the onlookers and participants. I wonder which one you most identify with. First, there's the man with the shriveled hand. I'm guessing that he desperately wants to be healed, but he's embarrassed to be singled out by Jesus and made to stand up in front of everyone. Then there are the disciples. They're thinking, wow, Jesus is great to be with. His ministry is amazing. He's so different and exciting. And then I'm guessing that they're thinking, hey Jesus, it's all going really well. Don't rock the boat. Just keep your head down today. After all, you can always heal the guy tomorrow. What about the Pharisees? Perhaps we actually identify with them just a little bit. We're part of the establishment. We know the rules. We know how things should be done. We don't want to have novel ideas upsetting our way of doing things. Perhaps rather you feel like a bystander. You're intrigued by all the fuss. Who is this Jesus? Perhaps you'd like to know a little bit more about what he's up to. So I'm just going to read the passage to you again, and I want you to think about who you most identify with and why. Another time he went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Stand up in front of everyone." Then Jesus asked them, "Which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?" But they remained silent. He looked round at them in anger and, deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Then the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. What strikes me in all of this is how in control Jesus was. Whatever the agenda of others, he was clear about his own programme. His compassion is striking too, not only for the man with the shriveled hand, but also for the Pharisees and their stubborn hearts. It says he was deeply distressed. So here are just a few questions to finish up with today. And I'd like you to have a think about these as you go through your day. I've identified 4 words beginning with S. Sabbath. What do you think about the Sabbath? Do you need to take a Sabbath rest? Stand up. Is what Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand something that he's saying to you as well? Where is Jesus asking you to stand up or stand out for him today? Do we have the courage to trust that Jesus is actually in control? Silent. The Pharisees were silent in the face of Jesus' question. When we're faced with difficult questions, are we silent? Do we bury our heads in the sand and hope that it all might go away? Or do we wrestle with the issues until we find a resolution? Stubborn. The Pharisees' hearts were stubborn. In what ways can we be stubborn? Is there a bit of a Pharisee in us? I'm sure there can be in me. What do we need to talk to Jesus about today? So, some food for thought. Have a great day. Bless you. Bye-bye.